If I had to put money on it, Shohei Ohtani will not be wearing an Angels jersey in 2024. Hey, what's up, everybody? So Arte Moreno is obviously not selling the Angels now, and that's a big deal, and it's going to impact Shohei's impending free agency. We're going to talk about Arte and all the things behind the scenes when it comes to that stuff in just a second, but I want to talk about why he's going to become a free agent. At bare minimum, you have to imagine he's at least going to test free agency. His contract is up after 2023, and it would be honestly pretty dumb if he didn't at least test the waters. Here's Nez Bolello, his agent, talking about his free agency strategy on a podcast a couple of years ago.
But then there's other players that bring a tremendous amount of value with popularity, the fact they're bringing people into the stadium and putting fannies in the seats, to selling merchandise, and so you have to look at all of that and what really this individual brings as far as value. So we've had to think outside the box to say, okay, is it just about statistics, or is it about popularity? Is it about driving revenue? Is it about all kinds of things? So we try to table it, put it all together, and then spit out a presentation that is tailored specifically to that player.
When Shohei's big, his impact is obviously huge, right? Just look at Google search results in 2021 when he had his incredible MVP season, and you can see the trends over time. When Shohei is good, people are looking him up. And what happens every time they look him up? They see that Angels logo. Aaron Judge obviously just did this. Went to free agency, he had the contract extension on the table, and he was like, no, I'm good, let me bet on myself. And it ended up paying off. 9 years, $360 million. Definitely paid off for Aaron Judge. To our knowledge, discussions have not taken place about a contract extension in the 2023 offseason with Shohei Ohtani. So the Angels and Shohei, to everything we've heard, or I guess haven't heard, it hasn't happened. There have not been any to our knowledge. Here's his agent again on that same podcast. And this is me just inferring. This is not him talking specifically about the Shohei situation. This clip is actually from 2020.
If you're having communication about an extension, they have a desire to do it. We obviously have a desire to do it, unless the player has just absolutely said, hey, I'm at the tail end of my contract. I would really like to explore free agency. I really don't have an appetite to get involved. Then you cut off those negotiations.
So in my mind, free agency is inevitable. And again, I think it would be pretty dumb for Shohei not to at least go into the market to see what he would get. Because we're all kind of curious, one, just to see what those kinds of offers would be like. So why is free agency inevitable? Well, that's where Arte Moreno comes in. For Angels fans, the Arte Moreno saga started off fairly well. He bought the team fresh off of a World Series victory. Walt Disney Company sells it to Arte, finds success for a couple of years, and honestly, a lot of that has to do probably with Tony Riggins and all the front office people that were in place before he got there. But especially over the last 3+ years, it has been an absolute nightmare. The headlines that have hit the Angels and everything surrounding the team has just been pure negativity. The land deal is one of the most recent things. The corruption probe into the Anaheim mayor. Harry Sidhu, the mayor, had to resign because of all of this. On top of that, you talk about losing baseball. The Angels just have not won in 7 years. This has led to a disconnection with fans, a loss of fan base, less seats being sold, less people showing up to the ballpark. There's disconnection with former players in the mix. There's been multiple reports about Arte Moreno over-managing the team and stepping on people's toes and not letting people do their jobs. There's been a revolving door of managers. There's been a revolving front office door with multiple general managers. There's been disregard for employees' well-being. There's been disregard for minor league players' well-being, to say the least. And of course, how everything has gone down during and post the death of Tyler Skaggs. And when the news that he was not going to be selling the team broke, I mean, just look at the fan response. Angels fans are infuriated, frustrated, and just feel defeated at this point. For Angels fans, it's not a question of if they lose Shohei Ohtani. Right now, it's when. And that is, for Angels fans, so unfair. Look, I'm not going to try and guess what's going on in Shohei Ohtani's mind. But if it were me, I'd probably be out. What is the reason to stay put and play baseball in Anaheim? Yes, Mike Trout. Yes, you're the star. I know there's been a lot of talk about money. There's been a lot of talk about winning and all that kind of stuff, but just base level, you forget all that stuff. He's going to get paid. Obviously, he's going to get the money. Where it comes from, no one knows right now. I think it more boils down to less noise, not being surrounded by scandals and negative news, bad press, and everything that comes with that. Look, Shohei has never said anything about Arte Moreno. He has never said anything in that regard. Yeah, he wants to win. I think some of those quotes may have been taken out of context. There's been a lot of those quotes that kind of come in, that through translation, and there's all this kind of hubbub around the things that he says. But I think, again, what it really boils down to is just playing baseball. Yes, everybody loves Shohei in Anaheim. Every fan loves him. Every employee loves him. He's been nothing but a delight, especially since 2021, because of how good he has been since 2021. Again, what it boils down to is how much negativity do you want to be surrounded by? And if you can avoid that, why not? And again, I'll jump in on this and say it would be dumb not to test free agency. There would be no benefit to not testing it, because right now he can't talk to anybody. But in a couple of months, once November hits, he can. And if he does it, quote unquote, right, it may be the only time he has to ever talk to other teams. He went through that whole process when he came over for Japan, and of course he landed on the Angels. If he doesn't have to, why stay? Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for Angels fans. I don't think he returns to Anaheim in 2024. He could. It's still a possibility. There's nothing saying that he won't. I think I'm just saying he won't. He can go off and be a star on any other team. He can go off and compete. He can go off and make tons of money for a team that may not make sense on paper, but for my money, being with the Angels just doesn't make much sense. The only redeeming quality in my mind is getting to continue to play with Mike Trout. He's had to go through these ups and downs and these tragic deaths and these awful, awful things. And again, he has been a true professional for the entirety of it, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change. And maybe that's why so many people love him. I think Shohei's days are numbered in Anaheim. Now, whether the Angels trade him, especially with Arte Moreno no longer selling, and how the 2022 season shook out, where there were reports where he wasn't allowed to be shopped by Perry Manassian. I can't foresee that being different in 2023, given everything we know about Arte Moreno's managing style, if you will. So, no, I don't think he's getting an extension. I think it would be dumb just not to test free agency, and I think his days in Anaheim are numbered. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below, and for my old Locked On Angels followers, maybe a little bit of return to normalcy. Again, we're brand new here, essentially, on YouTube and starting over. So hitting that subscribe button would be huge, and I appreciate all the love that you guys have given me so far and all the views. All right, thanks so much. I'm Steve Granado. Later.